My name is Brian Nielander. I was the design manager for the Challenger exterior.
My name's Jeff Gale. I was lead exterior designer on the Dodge Challenger. The hood that's on the car is very reminiscent of the concept car. It's very similar. I mean, if you overlaid the line work, that's very close. We played some games with the radii, and obviously having to work through stamping feasibility and all those things. But we've maintained the hood scoop in there. It is open, so it does flow air through. We've got a nice little black bezel in there that has a texture that matches the grille texture, and it's very reminiscent of the original, the bulged hood that they had on the 70 cars with those twin scoops. So there's a lot of flavor that relates back to that old car. Again, that mind's eye view of the original 70 car, but then again, more importantly, the concept vehicle itself.
We knew we had to have the dual stripes on the hood. I mean, that was the show car, and basically the feedback we were getting from the auto show is people want the show car. Even down to the orange paint job. We had looked at doing sort of just a matte black finish for the stripes, and really to set this car apart from the rest of the Challengers that'll come down the pipeline, and to give it, I guess, the relevance back to the show car, we decided to go with something that was, the carbon fiber look that the show car had. If you look at that hood, it's actually a carbon fiber hood on the show car itself. It's not stamped sheet metal. And what they did is they just painted around the carbon fiber itself and then cleared the carbon fiber so you get the look of it. And just having that stripe in the same carbon fiber, the same weave, and mimicking that, it really gets back to what the show car was and just capturing the look of that. And it's going to set this car, this first run edition, set it apart from the rest of the cars that come after.
The spoiler is a very functional item on the car. As we talked about aero previously, the lower air dam in the front, there's even some tricks we played to the front edge of the hood, above the headlamp and grille, the angle of that surface, and then working with the front end, the spoiler on the back, and even some of the angles of the surfaces on the back underneath the spoiler we played with in the wind tunnel as well. So all those things have to work together to come up with the right balance of lift and drag and all those different elements in the tunnel. And we've achieved something that we think looks actually more like the original TA spoiler in character, yet it helps us on aero be able to keep the lift on the back down. And in the front, we've created an air dam, or splitter, if you will, that almost looks like some of the old race cars that they had back in the day, the Trans Am cars. So there's a little bit of flavor that we've taken from different elements of the past and been able to bring them back to the basically the future, I guess you could say, but into the modern sense of the word, and getting something that looks like that original mind's eye of the old car, but yet still have functional elements on the vehicle that help us keep the car on the road and keep the aero down and lift down. The wheels on the concept car were very unique. They had a unique pocket through the spoke that actually went through in side view, creating almost a dual structure look, lightweight and whatnot. So what we ended up doing was looking at that, and obviously that's not a very productionizable wheel, so we went back and looked at our technology that we were using, a forged technology, and we actually have a new wheel that comes out. It's a 20-inch wheel, it's forged, and we've managed to create a design in the wheel that makes the wheel look large, yet it still has kind of an old school feeling to it. When you look back at some of the wheels that were done back in the day, the old Magnum 500 wheels, as they call them, it has a thin reed to the face of those old spokes. Obviously they were set back in more of a dish, so what we wanted to do is kind of create, again, that kind of modern feeling to what you could do with today's technology, a larger look, but still kind of keep a little bit of that flavor in the wheel itself. So that design is what you see on the car, on the SRT8 now.
Obviously weight is a consideration, and the structure, not just of the wheel itself. But really, the car is a certain proportion, and you want to match that proportion with your wheels and tires. And so we tried to get them as big as possible, get the reed as big as possible. And as Jeff mentioned, that small face, that machine face on the front of the wheel, it goes all the way out to the edges of the wheel and really draws your eye outward. Right. And then, the rest of the spoke is sort of set back. So it really gives a bigger look to the wheel. But yeah, just the mass of the spoke, we tried to keep that as light as possible.
The brakes on the car, you want to ring true. I mean, that's a performance item that any enthusiast is going to recognize, quickly. You want that name on there. You want a brand recognition that people know, something that's trusted, something that's on the most expensive cars in the world. And we tried to put the technology back in these vehicles. These are true performance cars. The SRT8 is our top of the line performance Challenger. And you want that brand to ring true, the brakes stand out, or the rotors are a very large size. The large wheels and tires on the vehicle, everything about the car, and just having that behind that spoke, I think, is just that stamp on, hey, we mean business.